Many people look at their dating history and see a repetitive cycle. You promise yourself the next relationship will be different, that you will finally choose someone stable and kind, but you find yourself pulled toward the exact same toxic traits all over again. We usually attribute this to bad luck or a lack of quality partners in the dating pool. However, the rational, adult version of yourself is rarely the one making these decisions. Instead, these choices are dictated by unhealed childhood wounds. These hidden injuries act as a subconscious puppet master, guiding you toward partners who mirror your earliest internal conflicts. This phenomenon is explained through the concept of gender projections, a framework built on the work of psychologist Carl Jung and author Robert Greene. Every human carries a mixture of masculine and feminine qualities. However, as children, we face intense pressure from society and our parents to adopt rigid, expected gender roles. To fit in, we bury opposing traits deep within our subconscious. Jung called a male's repressed feminine parts the anima and a female's masculine parts the animus. Because we cannot express these traits, we project them and our unresolved parental wounds onto the people we date. When we fall in love, we are often seeing our own repressed nature looking back at us rather than the actual person standing there. We can identify specific childhood wounds by looking at the toxic archetypes we repeatedly attract. Common father wound projections include the devilish romantic, older, successful men who provide intense attention, and the lovable rebel who is sought out for his defiance of authority. These choices often stem from a desire to reclaim the specific attention a father provided, or to outsource a repressed desire to rebel against a strict patriarchal household. Mother wound projections often take the form of the elusive woman of perfection, or the woman to worship him, where a man expects unconditional adoration and support. These men are often trying to fill an emotional void left by an unsupportive mother, or they are attempting to feed a literal addiction to the undivided worship they received as children. Our romantic preferences often serve as subconscious reenactments of the trauma inflicted by our primary caregivers. Some projections are born from inner voids rather than direct parental actions, specifically profound feelings of inferiority. The superior man projection occurs when a woman lacks her own inner strength. She becomes drawn to intimidatingly confident men, often finding herself dominated by partners who target her low self-esteem. Conversely, the fallen woman projection involves a man with a passive nature who develops a savior complex. He seeks out troubled women to rescue as a way to avoid his own internal passivity. These relationships rely on a partner acting out a script that they didn't write. Eventually, their actual humanity creates friction. They fail to give enough attention, or they refuse to be the rebel we need them to be. And when the gap between our projection and their reality becomes too wide, the fantasy completely cracks and shatters. Once the projection fails, the relationship dissolves into miscommunication and disappointment. The person you were in love with never actually existed. Without recognizing this psychological root, you are highly likely to repeat this exact process with the very next person you meet. Recognizing that your type is actually unhealed trauma is uncomfortable. However, that awareness is what allows you to break the cycle. The first step is radical self-reflection. You must perform an honest audit of your dating history to find the common denominators in your past partners. This reflection aims to identify the specific masculine or feminine traits you were forced to repress during your own development. Step 2 is reclaiming your identity. You have to stop outsourcing your missing traits to the people you date. If you seek rebellion or confidence in others, you must actively cultivate those qualities within yourself. This removes the desperate need to find them in a partner. Step 3 is dropping rigid gender roles. Robert Greene suggests embracing the full spectrum of your nature, both your drive and your sensitivity, to become an original person. Integrating your full identity allows you to stop operating as a fragmented person. When you are whole, you stop dating your childhood wounds and finally start seeing people for who they truly are.